Hi guys, welcome to iNVision Prototypes. I'm Nick. Behind me I've got the M40C hot rod build we're doing for a client. And essentially this is a car that's inspired by a 1940 Ford Coupe that we're building using a modern Mustang platform as a basis. Past few weeks we've been working on the wire frame, establishing the wheel arches, the rockers. We've got the doors set last time and the door cut lines. Now it's brought us to this area here where we have to figure out the window configuration down within the door pocket. You might have noticed that these window tracks won't work. This is the way it was set up for the Mustang, and we have to reconfigure these so that when we bring this window down within the door pocket, we're not going to have the front edge jam up. With this angle, this is going to translate to a forward direction, and well, we can't have that. So what we're going to do is just relocate these into more vertical orientation and come up with a larger template that clamps down so that we can actually power the window up and down within the door cavity. So that's one of the few things we have to look at. So for the front end of this project, when we had the initial design meetings with the client, and we were discussing how to style things up front here, he had a preference for the Ford Deluxe style grills, but felt the center section of the grills was a bit too prominent. So I made the suggestion we combine a standard grill with the outer sections of a Deluxe grill, combine those two together. And well, as you can see, I've bent up a piece of flat bar to kind of represent that. This is going to be the cut line for the hood here. We need to relocate this under this panel and attach it to the frame table. And then once we do that, we can start building more things off and you get a better idea of where things are going. You see the rod here. This is based off that drawing, which is correct, but I was playing with the depth of this nose on the car and felt that at this point we have the best representation for a 40 Ford grill. It looked too soft back here, too flat. So by bringing it out here, we have that nice peak that the 40 Ford grills have. And what we will do, is take this rod, cut it off, and relocate it to this point here so it matches with the point of the grill. However, by moving this up front here, it creates a space back there. And rather than adding a rod, we're going to just join this rod to the back edge of the hood. And that's going to create a space for us for the hidden wipers to drop down and hide away basically. You guys might be looking at all these pieces of flat bar going every which way, this round rod dropping down to this, and it might not look like it's coherent. But that's just part of the process going from a two-dimensional form into 3 dimensions. Now, this piece of flat bar should be in this location here, but until we mount this piece of flat bar to the frame table, we can't do much about that. So as we're adding flat bar and adding pieces, things are going to get more defined and more refined on this design. In this area, we're going to have a headlight. Well, this piece of rod down through here is actually the outer surface of the headlight. This piece of flat bar has to be relocated to down here to a lower area. Now the grill ends in this location and then the fender starts taking off. So we're going to make the cut here later on and then define the grill and then take this piece of flat bar and move it so that it corresponds to the outer surface of the fender down there. It's a lot easier to bend a profile out of one piece of flat bar than try to piece it together and have a nice smooth curve out of multiple pieces. So that's one of the reasons we do that. This point here, this has to be removed, at least some of it, because it will be in the way of the headlight. Before we got too far ahead with the wire frame in the front, it was time to double check the wheel clearances in this area. If we had tried to jack up the suspension and put the wheel on, we would have ended up twisting the wire frame and couldn't really have that. So the simplest and the quickest way to get this done was to pull the front strut out and then lift up the suspension, put the wheel on, and check everything out. And that's it. Got one strut out. Now we get the wheel on this and put this up into place and see how well everything fits. As you can see, the wheel's on. And that was a bit of a trick to get that done. With no strut holding things in place, you need 3 arms. 2 to hold the rotor assembly up, and 1 to get the wheel on. But got it done. Now it looks pretty good from there, but when you come around to this angle here, you can see the clearance issue we're going to have if we get this car lowered a bit. The wheel is actually going to rub on the fender lip. So I'm going to try turning the wheel with 1 arm here. Okay, now, there, you can see we're going to have issues with clearance in here. So we will need to widen this front up a little bit, but that's not a problem. We'll probably come into about here, and that'll solve that issue. So we'll have lots of room to slam the front. Aside from that, everything's looking good.
Hi guys. What we're doing today is we're making up a template for the glass for the side door. As you can see, we've got a piece of hard cardboard. What we did, we took a larger piece, of course. We clamped it into the bottom clamps and it extended up above. We're using the wire buck as a kind of a guide. There. And now the cardboard fits perfectly inside. It's mounted on the bolts where the glass would normally bolt. What we're going to do next is make a plexiglass template. Well, we cut the plexi out. We've got it mounted. We're pretty well smooth with our wire buck. We've made sure that we've got a clearance at the edges. Everything is done up nice and tight. Okay, now the big test. Let's see if it works. Okay, here we go. Okay. Well, it looks like it's, wow, look at that. Just right. Now, let's see if it'll go up. I would say that's very close. That's very close. I think that was a success. Now, we'll take the plexi out and we order the glass to be cut precisely to that shape.
Okay guys, so today is pretty exciting because we received the windshield for this hot rod build. I thought about taking and trying to climb up here, balance and hold this glass in place to show you guys, but I don't want to drop this thing. So what we're going to do is get some 1/4-inch rod, create a perimeter, create a structure for the windshield, and once we create the outline, we'll get up there, tack it in place, and then at that point you guys can get a better idea what it's going to look like. So let me get some rod and get working on this. Okay, so we formed up this perimeter around the glass, and the way we did that was basically by having the glass lay flat on that horse. We took and formed that rod, the 1/4-inch rod, around the contour of the glass, around the perimeter of the glass. And then I took and threw in some extra bracing from top to bottom to basically hold that shape while we transferred it off the glass and up into place there. And you can see the center spine of the car up above there. I started blending that into the top of the windshield area and started cutting this area apart here, because what I'm going to start next is the rear edge of the hood, get that rod formed up. But you can also see that I've started forming up this bulge here, the Ford Deluxe style grill bulge that basically extends up and into the door cut line. We're not going to have a traditional style cut line like the 40s had here. I want a more of a cleaner look where it ends up at the door's cut line. So basically run that in. This is going to come down here. I've also taken this flat bar, trim that used to run around here. I've chopped that off and lowered it down into the appropriate location here, with the top of the fender line running down into this flat bar line here. We still have to finish off this area here and into the front. I'm gonna head over to the vise, grab a piece of rod, and form up this feature line for the rear edge of the hood that starts here at the top of the door, wraps around the glass, and ends on the other side at the same point. And when we install that, it's going to be spaced off the glass so that we have a space for the wipers to slip down in behind. So when you look at the car from a distance, you won't see any wipers on it. It'll be nice, clean, have a nice clean appearance. Okay. Okay, well the curve doesn't look too bad, but we are sitting a bit high. It's sitting up on top of that center line for the center rod for the hood there. So once we cut and trim that, we'll drop it down. Now the other thing is this curvature outward from the glass is a bit much. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take and trim the ends off a bit, suck it down to the glass a bit closer. I only want about 2.5 inches space, which is more than enough for the wiper arms to come up in between the hood and the glass. But this is actually double what we need. So I'll cut this back and refit it. With the ends in the center tacked in place, now I can take and manipulate this rod in this area on both sides so we have a nice sweeping curve up and around the glass. Right now it just kind of takes off and goes up. Don't like the looks of that and it's not right, so we're going to take and bring this down to about here. I'll leave that center structure there for now just to hold things while I start bending this, and hopefully the tacks don't break. But once I get that welded up, or once I get that bent and welded up, then I'll take and pull that center support out and it'll give you a better, clearer view as to where the lines are around the glass, around the windshield. Just take it nice and slow. I think I felt the weld break already, but it's looking better. Don't want to create any kinks in it. Just one nice curvature here. Okay. Let's do the same on the other side, and then I'll just bring this down a little bit in this area here. Okay, let me get a look from back here where you guys are. Yeah, that curve isn't just right yet. Still coming up too fast, and the center is a bit high. So what I'm going to do is take more of a wedge out of this area. So this comes down, and we're going to drop the middle down, kind of play with that height to see where it looks the best. Now there's a rod here, that's only a brace. There's a rod underneath that actually represents the glass, and that's what we have to be on. So I think we can come down a little bit lower and still be comfortable. Okay, let's bring this down one more time. This is broken. We only have a few tacks holding this because I like to move things around if we need to. without doing too much grinding. So we'll have to re-weld that. Okay, well that looks a lot better. We'll tack that one weld that broke, and we'll move the center point down. Okay, well that looks a lot better already, except for the center line of the hood, that on there, that just doesn't look good. So we're gonna have to take and nip the bottom side, allow that weld to kind of relieve itself, and then it'll straighten itself back out. But right now, I'm happy with this. Let's get a dimension on the center line there, off the glass. Perfect. So what I'm gonna do next is take and nip the bottom side here, have that rod straightened back out where it was, and I think we're good. I might put a temporary brace in from this rod of the center line of the windshield just to hold this for us right now. We still need to build more of a structure to this hood, but in the meantime we can get rid of a lot of that bracing here, this rod here and that there. We'll get rid of that. Okay, well, don't you think it looks a lot better now? No longer have that in the hood there. So that's all straightened out. Let's move forward and focus on the front now. Well, we're gonna call this an episode, guys. So thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for us. We really appreciate it. And like I said before, we enjoy talking to you guys and making new friends and hearing about your projects and what you guys are involved with. Okay, guys, well, thanks a lot for watching and take care.